Okay, welcome back everyone to the Outstanding User Interfaces with Shiny Book Club. Today we are going to resume the chapter 10, which is about JavaScript for R. And we have previously covered the section on um, programming with JavaScript and some basic introduction of JavaScript. Today we are going to hopefully finish the chapter. We have two main sections, the jQuery section and the JavaScript, Shiny JavaScript and HTML inspector section. Some of the exercises, actually all of them, are covered in different sections. So I have incorporated them in my scripts and files within the Wallet Cloud project here. So we won't explicitly cover the exercises because they are already covered in these sections. So for the first section for today, jQuery. jQuery is a popular JavaScript library that makes it easier to write JavaScript. And it is heavily used with Shiny. So here is the main syntax, where within the script tag, we have a $sign to start our expression, and then we select a particular element or class of the HTML, and then we can do whatever with it. In this example, we are applying a CSS. So let's take an example of that. Um, this is 10.5.1. So here I have an HTML file, the same exact HTML file that we just saw, and I'm going to preview it. Sometimes it forgets the type of the file. I'm going to rename it, and now we have the preview button. And here we see hello world is red. Actually,
We
you
don't see
probably
it.
don't. Yeah, you don't see it. I'm gonna open it in the browser. So now
Yeah.
you should see it. Great. So if you look back here, the paragraph tag does not specify the color, and we don't see a CSS specified here. The only point where the CSS is specified is using jQuery, where we get the paragraph tag and then we apply the color red. Next, here is some discussion on the syntax. So as I said, we always start with $sign, we provide the selector, and then we do some action on it. We previously saw the action of using applying CSS. With vanilla JavaScript, the code is longer. We need to say document dot get element by class name. If our paragraph has a text class, then we provide that here. And then we get inner HTML property of it. This is how we do in the vanilla JS. With jQuery, it is much simpler. We take the text class and then we take its HTML. And we can do this to multiple things at the same time. So we can chain our selectors. Here's one more example that I have used in this next section. So here, again, we have an HTML file. And within this file, we have that same paragraph tag. And we also have, uh, let's first look at yeah, so I had previously, me, let me get that back.
Bring in the console the test.
Yeah, I'm gonna add that.
Okay.
I, I previously deleted this when I was doing the test and forgot to put it back.
Okay.
Um, so, all right, let me get that in the browser. So now you see this weird on the left, you see this bullet point, which is now an image, but it is cut off. But that's not the point. The point is that we can apply CSS and we can make changes using JavaScript, using jQuery syntax. So this is the result first. Let's look at the result and then I'll go back to the code. So again, we see the hello world at the top, and we see that there are two ordered lists. So we have one, two, three, four. Actually, this is unordered list. It's just that each element of the list is a number. And then the second one is also one, two, three, four. But the bullet points themselves are now image. And this is just to show how we are applying jQuery. So let's look at the first unordered list first. We see the class is list and the class is item for each of the individual items. For the last one, we also have the ID and we call it as a precious item. So in here, I have this first part of jQuery where we first take all the classes, the two classes, list and item, and then we take that item and then apply the CSS of color, which we change to red. And this is the reason why the first list is red, the numbers are in red color. So we have the list and item. Going back to this, the class of UL is list, and the class of each item is item. And so this is the reason why these four, one, two, three, four, these are in red. The next ones are not in red because they have a different class. In this case, their UL class is list, but we also have ID as list2. So we can use ID here. And then I create this another variable, let other items equals, and now I'm getting the list2 ID, and I'm getting all the items within list2. And then I take that and then apply the dark blue color. And this is why we see the dark blue color here, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And just to make it clear so that we are not confused, that this is not the unordered, this is not the ordered list. This is, in fact, the unordered list. If I review this again, so here, again, the same thing, but we see that in red color, and the other list is in blue color because we are targeting the ID list2, which is right here. The bullet points themselves have changed because I say get the UL element and I named it as lists. And then I'm applying the CSS that the list style image should be this image. And this image, I just randomly got an image from Giphy website, which has GIFs, and I applied it. So obviously in real world use case, it doesn't make much sense, but just to show that we can change anything about our elements in HTML, we can use jQuery. Finally, we have an example of the first item, which is essentially list2's first child. So here we have list2, and the first child here is supposedly uh, this thing, but looking at the result, which we can get using console.log, which is similar to print, you would see that it's not going to give us this thing.
The
It's,
four one, all the fours, right?
yeah. So if we look at that here, let's look at the console. So here we see that it's providing us this object, and then um, yeah, it's not printing. So I thought that if we use list to first child. Since this is list 2, I thought this is the first child. And this is how it is explained in the chapter also. But I don't get this back. I don't get the first element back when we look at the print here. It
I
is
don't know if the first child would be the one for, you need to point to the item. I don't know. Like if you say
li, yeah.
like point item, you try to point item first after and then first child to the point item. Like you have list 2 as ID,
Mhm.
remove the double point. So because to me would be
Yeah,
like a space, then you will apply the point item, and then in the point item you select the first child
yeah.
because you
Mhm.
just only have one child for you only have one element for the whole list.
Yeah, yeah, right. I agree. But in the example here, uh,
Okay.
the chapter discusses this
Hmm.
example, and they say that it should give us, let me check
Yeah,
where it
above.
was.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
is the
right here. So it says return the first li element of the second ul, which is not correct, right?
no, doesn't sound good.
Yeah.
Can
So
you
we
try
don't
it to
get.
see it works? If you apply after to the point item, so maybe yours.
I think if I maybe use um, something like this, I think then I can do that. So you're saying uh, the uh,
Point item.
something like this or li?
Mm, I would try with point item. Like, okay, this is the ID is list 2. Then under that list we have the another class that is item.
Sorry, I didn't get that.
No, as you have, for example, in the items variable, for example, you have point
Hmm.
list, then point item. In row 36.
36. Oh yeah, like that. Okay.
But it's point item, no, because item is not ID.
Yeah, it's not
It's a
ID.
class. Let's see what it prints in the with that syntax.
Okay, let's try that.
I don't know if the curly braces would affect.
Yeah, it probably won't. So let me change that.
That would be my best guess. Mm.
So it's still undefined.
Undefined. Oh, have one item now.
Yeah, we have an item, but it's not.
Okay. What
Maybe
is
it's
the
just,
content?
yeah, it's maybe it's providing all the content
Oh,
here.
here size one. Oh, no, but a size. But what is the content?
Probably I'm not printing the correct thing, right? I'm printing this first item. Maybe that's not the right thing. Anyways,
And maybe it would be HTML. Point HTML after
here.
in the item, yeah. I think, do you need parentheses? Do they use parentheses when they call?
And let's see. We know that we can do that for jQuery with if.html.
Yeah, the
Uh,
HTML.
yeah,
Yeah,
like this.
that was the example. Let's say now you can print your HTML about the first item.
Mm, yeah,
Yeah, you're getting the correct
got
one.
it. Yeah, great.
So that's the correct thing. Like you now select second, it should show two, second child. Just to confirm that we are not just.
Yeah.
De correr.
Oh,
Now we get an error.
second
Mm,
dash child.
it said that the pseudo second child is not correct.
Mm,
I don't know. Maybe it's no second is no pseudo. I don't know.
yeah. But this is yeah, you are probably correct about that. Um, Anyways, this is I think a good example where we can get help from AI, from ChatGPT.
Yeah,
Um,
of course.
right. So the good practice, according to the chapter, is to always have this to wrap the jQuery code, because what happens is sometimes the code runs first and then the page loads. And so the code is not applied at that time. So if we do this, where we put all our relevant jQuery code in here and we say document.ready, then it will make sure that the document object model is ready first, and then the code will be applied. The shortcut for that is this. But in my observation, this is what I see mostly whenever I see Shiny examples.
Yeah, I was
Um,
also watching some YouTube video about jQuery, and that was the thing that they were using. To me,
yeah,
it's more clear what we are doing.
yeah. Then there are multiple useful functions. So I got some of these in the example as well. Let me see what section this is. Right. So in here, so we again have the same list, but this time we are now using document.ready, and we are providing that in here. So there is one difference here. This script tag is under the body tag. So this is an important distinction. We first create our elements within the body tag, and then we provide the script. So it's at the end of the body section. In this case, because we are now saying that do all of this whenever the document is ready, we can now put this script in the head section of our HTML page. If we do the same in this previous example, then it is likely that none of the CSS and other stuff that we did here, it is likely it won't be applied, because it will be run even before the page is loaded.
Yeah,
So
it won't find the elements basically. Like
yeah,
I'm looking for them, it won't find them.
right. So in this example, we are getting all the items, and then we are applying the CSS of making them bold and making their color blue. So let's take a look. So here we are, and they are correctly applied. So we have multiple methods for doing this. We can get children, we can get the first element, the last element, um, and in a list, we can get the closest element, we can filter and get the next sibling, the previous sibling, and so on. Similarly, we have manipulation tags to manipulate our using jQuery. So we can add classes to certain things. We can remove class to certain things. We can apply CSS as we saw before, and so on. Then here in the chapter, we have an example of doing that, where within this unordered list, we first take the first element, which is this one. Then we get, actually, it is this thing, again, as we were discussing before. And then we apply the color green. Then we add an attribute, which is ID. as my awesome item, and then we add a class and we say amazing unordered list. I think I have this example. Let's see. Yeah. In this case, as we were discussing, we are adding this CSS. So we have two items, two unordered lists here. The first one has 5 elements, the second one has 3. And so when we say take the unordered list and then dot first, it's now going to take the first unordered list. And now it's going to apply the color green to all items of that. And then it's going to add an attribute ID, my awesome item. Let's see the HTML for this. And so we see my awesome item is added as an ID. And then we have add class amazing UL. So here we have the class amazing UL.
And yeah, does not apply to the second one.
It's not applied to
Yeah,
the second one. If we look at the second one,
exactly, empty.
yeah.
Perfect.
And let's go back. So just like any programming language, we have iterations in JavaScript, so we can do that with jQuery as well. So this example, we take li, and then we apply, we have taken an example of this in the previous discussion where we use the each method, and then we apply a function. In this function, we are saying take this item, and then apply the CSS, which is hide all of these. I think this could be useful in Shiny as well if you want to hide something. And instead of actually doing all of this, the iteration is applied directly when we use jQuery in this way. So in my opinion, this is very similar to how R is vectorized. Similarly, with jQuery syntax, each step, each li item here is vectorized because we can apply this function to them directly. We don't have to say we don't have to use a loop-like thing.
Yeah, yeah, for us in yeah, it's like that.
Then we have another example. The map method has a different purpose. It creates a new object based on the provided one. So here we have an array, and we specify a threshold. And then we say we apply the map method to items, and we have a function. It removes all the items which are above a certain threshold. In this case, the threshold is 3. So uh, if the value is more than threshold, return null. Otherwise, return the item. So using this map method, we can apply this to this certain content.
I think it should return an array.
Yeah, this should return an array. Let me see if I have this example run here. No,
That
probably
might be
not.
better in console because it's a just
Yeah, I don't have it
we can
here.
copy in the console in the browser
Yeah,
because it's really a simple operation.
good idea. Is that good? So if we
You
look
you
at,
console log and the item filter item. No, filter item would be no the I. Yeah, filter items. Oh, yeah, this was not complete.
uh,
You can click. Yeah, great. What do we? Yeah, 0, 1, 3. Yeah, perfect. Because yeah, it's an array.
yeah, great.
Different. It was just like the math function we have
Yeah, yeah.
in the, I think, I don't remember for the poor package. I use more
Mhm.
base R for use those integers. So to me would be more as apply example.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. That's a good analogy. Um,
Or I'll apply because in I don't know, in JavaScript there is no vectors. It's just everything is a list.
yeah, right. So next section is about events. And events are like clicking or mouse over or uh, whatever events we have, we can do different things on them. I think there is no limit to what kinds of functions we can apply, but we just listen for a certain event, as we learned about in the previous discussion. So we could take any element and we say if click happens, do something. Uh, if we want to trigger change on an element, we can do something like that, and so on. But we can also even resize. So here's an example of that. So here, what I did was I added this style first to the body. This is just for, uh, this is not really required in this example, but the box class, which we'll see in a moment how it's used. This is basically creating a box with a background color of light blue to show different divs with this color. And we also have a CSS property of resizable. Sorry, this is the class resizable. We are providing the property of resize both, and we are saying overflow auto. So this will make sure that whenever the size is bigger, then it will overflow, as far as I understand. So here is the main element that we are looking at. So here we have the first div with the class box, and we have an ID of click box, which says click me. And then we have, and actually, before looking into the rest of the code, let's first look at the result, and then we'll go back. So here we have the first box, and if I click on it, then I get this result. So previously, we did not see that. So if I click on it, we get this element added to our page. Then we have different options in this dropdown. And if I change that, we get a different result. Uh, we are familiar with this from Shiny inputs, but this is purely doing using jQuery. And then if I click on this box, then another message appears. The difference between this one and this one is that there are two sentences, and we'll see how these are uh, uh, created differently and then appended. And then in this case, you see at this symbol at the end, so we can resize. If I use my window size, we can resize this box vertically and horizontally. So to achieve that, let's first look at this one by one. So we have the first div with class box and ID click box. And then there is a message below it. Currently, it doesn't have anything in it. It is a paragraph tag, but it has an ID of click message. So let's see what is the relevant jQuery for it. So we again start with document.ready. And here we say example for click. And in this case, I'm using click box. Just to remind everyone, click box is the ID of this box. So we take that and then we listen for the click event. If click event happens, then we take our click message, which is the paragraph tag, and we add a text to it, which is you click the box. And that's why we saw this sentence, you click the box. Then in the next step, we listen for the click on the click box again. Uh, and this time we again take the same paragraph tag and append text to it, which is this was triggered using on. And this is shown right here. So we are using the on method here instead of the click method. And this is why when the document is ready and we click on the div, both of these are run. As a result, we get both of these sentences, but they are generated using two different methods.
Yeah, and they all happen at the same time.
Yeah. Next example is for this one where we have this drop-down menu that changes the value there. So if you look at that, we have the select tag, which is just like select input. And we have the options for for that select tag, option value 1, 2, and 3. And then we have a paragraph tag called as change message. So here we take the mySelect element and then we apply the method change. And then what do we want to change? We take the change message paragraph tag and then we add a sentence, sorry, a text to it. You selected, and now we are selecting that particular option, which is this dot val. So as a result, we see different values by changing the dropdown. Next example is about this div, which is also using the class box, and it has a different ID of one click box. And it also has an accompanying paragraph tag with one click message. And in this case, we take it and this time apply the method one. And we take the one click message paragraph tag and apply text to it. So we see there are differences. We have used the click method on, change, and one. And I think I missed this one where we have the mySelect ID selected, and then we apply the trigger to it. So mySelect was, let's see which one. Yeah, right here. Yeah, this is for this one. So because we set dot trigger, we can apply change. And that change is here. Finally, we have the resize example. So resize again was where I can resize this box. And for that, I have a div, which is also, which has a class box, but it has an additional class called resizable, which we defined above. And it has an ID of resize box. And so for resize box, we take that and then apply the method resize. And because of the accompanying CSS of resize both and overflow auto, we can do this. So this shows us that jQuery is very powerful. We can create, we can make changes to any element using JavaScript. The next section, the final section for today is Shiny JavaScript and the HTML inspector. And here we have an example of a very simple Shiny app where they ask us to look at the console and the certain elements that we have. So if I run that, did I miss something here? I think I have one more example that was from the objects. Yeah, extending objects. So a last feature from jQuery section is the ability to extend objects with additional properties and methods. So here's one example where we have So we're defining a function that takes an object. Actually, here we're defining the object itself, which is defined as apple 0. And then we are extending that object 1. And the extension here in this simple example is using the uh, print up print method. So we are saying function console.log. So we have defined a new function. Now I remember it, sorry. We defined a new function that is associated with object 1. So now object 1 has the method print, which if you run this, it will just simply print out that object. So if I run it here, so now that object is printed with apple 0. So this is possible because we have defined a new method, we've extended it. We don't have to manually say console.log. We can just simply use print every time we need to. Right, coming back to this section. So if I now run that app, which is a very simple app, and we want to run this jQuery. So let's run this. And let me see if it works out here.
I think it's better you just export that window because
Yeah, it's probably better to do it here rather than our
mhm.
studio, right? Um, yeah. So here we have our head and body section. And in this case, this is the default that Shiny always makes class container fluid. And now if I run that example where we're taking the body and then we're adding a class flop, and now we run that, going back to the elements, now we have this class flop added to it. So in this section, debugging Shiny or JavaScript code with inspector, it tells us that we can add all our scripts, JavaScript scripts in a folder accessible by the app. Uh, and we know that folder is www, or we can create our own folder and then add resource paths to it. Generally, I think it's a good idea to put all CSS JavaScript files in www folder. And in this example, we are going to browse to the app, which is this deployed app. And if we click show notification, something happens. We look at the console and refresh it first. Right. I'm going to click on show notification and we see that we get an error. And it's because the send not if is a JavaScript function which has some error in it. If I click on it, it opens up that JavaScript method, sorry, the function. And here we can see that it is defined here. So here is the function's name. It has 3 arguments, message, type, and duration. And then here's the body. We take shiny.notification.show, which is an interesting method that we can use. And then within that, we can take a message, make it boldened, and then we specify type and duration here. So we can debug this to understand what is the issue. So if we click here, we're debugging here, and now if I run, let me So I think I need to refresh and then show notification. And so now we can debug. So if I click on resume script execution and we see this error. So to solve this error, we see cannot read property show of undefined, which is shown here. And I took notes for this 10, 6, 3.
I think it was a typo, but I don't remember exactly what was the word. On click, W folder,
Um,
measures.
oh yeah, it's there in the W folder underscore W underscore. Um, so we want to look at the console and then did I close that?
I think it's in the source. You need to change the source and then run again.
Yeah. Okay, so we go to console and oh, right.
No,
So
no,
it's this one.
this is not the example. Yeah, it
Yeah,
with this one.
so it's this one. So I click on show notification and right here. So we have this underscore W folder, which has these relevant folders. And then, yeah, there were several steps to this. So here we put a breakpoint and then, yeah, so it's telling us that the notification does not exist because the element is not there yet. Because it's not there yet, it cannot really do anything about it. So we have code that's doing something, but it cannot really do anything because notification does not exist.
It's the S. Shiny notifications.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't need
So
to remove the add the S.
yeah. So here we are. Thank you. And now we save it, Control S, and now we run it. So now we get the notification. Oops.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So this is how we can do debugging with our Shiny and JavaScript code. Then the next section here is about the Shiny JavaScript object, where we can, so in this example, the JavaScript code is directly provided in here, and we can look at the Shiny object itself. So if I do that, it is right here. And we to open this in this tab. And so now we can look at the Shiny object. And so there are so many different objects, but some of the interesting ones that I've seen in my experience, and they're in this, they're mentioned in the chapter also, are like add custom message handler, where we can add custom messages to do something using JavaScript within Shiny. Then there is set input value, so we can set values not only by dynamically within the server of Shiny app, we can also set input value using JavaScript. Again, this will be in the server, but this is not going to use R, this is going to use JavaScript. So there are multiple objects that methods that we can use with the Shiny object.
I think that's why Shiny test is using to make the test.
Shiny test?
Yeah, because they don't change the UI. They
Mhm.
just directly set the values into Shiny. So I think they're using this JavaScript method.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Yeah, because Shiny test doesn't simulate a web browser.
Mhm.
So I just go, I think, directly to JavaScript. I think those are the methods they use to input the data.
Interesting. Yeah, I think now in the next chapter, we'll be using the add custom message handler and Shiny set input value. At least I think in the next two chapters that will be discussed. Yeah, I think within this one. Right. So yeah, this is the end of this chapter. So these exercises are already covered in the sections prior to it. I'm going to stop sharing and stop.